What's up, YouTube family? We are back with another crazy one, and today we are literally going to be breaking down the flip trade which we actually did have for today, right? And so far, this is just Monday. We have actually achieved over three flips in the community, right? First of all, we did a $90 to 400, and we did a $1,000 to 7K on BTC, right? And we actually did a 500 to 5K on gold, right? Meanwhile, the 90 bucks to 400 was literally on gold still, right? So I'm literally going to be breaking down the entire trade setup that was literally taken for us to be able to like achieve this flip, right? So if you're literally new to this particular YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to click on the link in this particular video description to join our free Telegram community, right? So these are literally the trade, right? So this is it. We actually did take this particular trade, right? And we actually did have this pattern at over 200 bits of price, right? And then this is it, quick one. BTC sell right here, taken right here in the community. And we actually did have over 6,000 plus, right? And profit. This was where we actually did take this entry, right? Now, for you all who are literally wondering how we are able to do this, right? As we always will say, with precision is literally an easy peasy. This is literally the sell setup taken on gold, right? Where we did a 500 to 5K, right? Now, so far, as I did promise in a previous video, I did say we are literally going to break down the entire trade setup that actually did help us in achieving this flip, right? So this is it. Now, we started off with the week with me standing up, talking about how to approach the market in the previous video, right? Based off high value areas, right? Or let's call them SNL levels, right? So far, if we actually switch to the 4 hour time frame, we did a quick breakdown on this, right? So let's say we did a quick approach on this, right? So this is it. Now, on this particular note, we actually did have the presence of this first level, right? This is practically a level which we call a blind spot, right? So with the presence of this blind spot, we are particularly looking out for price to come into this. Now, remember last week we did a crazy flip, which was practically 500 to 9K or so, right? So this was practically the sell level which actually did take in price from last week, right? And this was literally the buy we actually had last week still, right? So how did we actually take this particular sell? Looking at the fact that we actually had a very low balance like that and how we were able to do this. Now, again, if you're new to this particular YouTube channel, right? Don't forget to click on the link in this particular video description to be part of our free Telegram community. Now, this is practically a blind spot, right? This is what is a blind spot? A blind spot is more like a field engulfing candle. So it means we actually look out for the presence of buyers, right? And the price is to give us this buy confirmation, right? With a bullish engulfing candlestick confirmation, we actually do see price go to like cold, right? It means we actually want to say, oh, this actually means we want to like see what we want to see price giving us a drop to the downside, right? Now, price actually did tap into this level, which held in for last week, right? And we did drop all the way to the downside, taking out this previous low, okay? Now, remember, for every SNL level, the target is always going to be the low that prepared the retracement, right? So this is the sell level, hence we actually did look at for this particular low that prepared the retracement, right? Which is a good target. Now, price actually did come into this. Now, let's look at refining. So what is the refining all about? Now, in respect to refining, right, you actually want to be able to pinpoint the accurate reversal point, right? So if we actually have this SNL level, we always want to look out for the level on the lower time frame, right, which was practically more like responsible for the entire impulse to the downside. So in this particular area right here, we are quite sure that there is practically an SNL level that propelled price all the way to the downside. And this SNL level should be nested above this, right? So if you want to look at this, you should actually take into consideration a fib level if you want to say this, right? Now, this fib level should actually give you, should we call it discounted prices where you actually want to sell from, right? And you don't actually want to look for uh, discounted prices or premium prices where you actually want to buy or sell from, right? So let's take a look at this SNL level, right? So we actually want to take a fib from this low to this particular, from this high to this low, right? To understand where we should actually sell from, right? Now, taking this fib, we should actually have this. I usually prefer taking this from the week, right? From the body or from the week. So I'm literally going to draw all the way from this to this low, right? And we can literally say that this did fall in the 50% right here. Now, this is where the 50% is literally coming in, right? So it means every single cell we actually want to take should be above the 50%, right? And you actually want to look at for the SNL level that is practically nested immediately after the 50%, right? So I'm literally scaling down to the 30 minutes. And if I'm going down to the 30 minutes right now, I actually want to look out for a quick SNL level that's also present right there. Okay. So now this is going to leave us with having a QML in price presence right here, right? We actually have a QML presence right here, and we also have an SNRC type 2, right? So what is an SNRC type 2? We actually have this to be this blind spot, filled blind spot, right? And then we also want to have this, right? So we actually have this level price actually did come all the way to this downside. And we actually did see price retest this, right? Before it did drop all the way to the downside, right? So this is going to make this a point of interest for us. We expecting to see price run all the way into this and then reject all the way to the downside, right? Now, with price coming all the way to this, right, how do we claim our entry? So in this particular scenario, you agree with this is lower low, lower high, lower low, right? You can actually look out for the presence of supply or demand at this particular. So as we're looking to sell, we're looking out for the presence of supply, right? Now, if it's go to the lower time frame, if we scale to the lower time frame, right, we're definitely going to see the presence of a 15 minutes supply zone, right? With price coming all the way into this, right, we did see a quick gap in price, and then price tapped into this, hence entry was literally taken. Now, this was practically based off the crazy volatility, right? The LCL was literally over 80 pips, right? But this does not necessarily mean that 80 pips was literally used in the stacking procedure, right? We actually did make use of 20 pips in the entry, which we actually have right there in this particular screenshot, right? In the community. We actually did have a 20 pip also because you need to like have should we call it a very precise entry for you to be able to like do things like this, right? So this is literally what we actually did have right here. And entry was literally taking with TP all over to the downside. This was practically 480 pips to the downside, right? With a risk reward of over a 1:6, right? And the price did pan out all the way to the downside, right? Now, with this being said, let's move over to breaking down BTC long. BTC short, right? Where we actually did take a 1K to 7K, right? Now, how did we actually do this on BTC, right? Now, on BTC, take a look at the 4 hour time frame, right? So, if you're particularly a day trader, right, you literally don't need to go all the way to the weekly or the monthly or the daily, right? You actually need to like select a lower time frame, like the 4 hour and then the 30 minutes and so on, right? To be able to like frame your trade bias of them, right? And then play it in respect to how comfortable you are with that particular time frame. If you're okay with like scaling out in a couple of minutes, right, which is more like scalping, you can, right? But I like to classify the scalping and day trading all in the same particular, as should we say, I like to put them in the same category, right? So let's take a look at this right here. We actually do see the presence of this field engulfing candle right here. Okay, now with the presence of this field engulfing candle, we needed to see price push all the way to the upside back into this. Now, without much saying, we actually did take buys of this 4 hour QML, right? And then we did take longs of this 4 hour blind spot right here still to the upside. Now, how did we actually look out for buys? Same procedure applies. In this particular zone right here, we did look at for sell, right? So for our blind spot right here present, right? So we schedule the 30 minutes. On the 30 minutes, you actually want to see the presence of an SNL level, right? So taking this right here, we can see this extreme point, okay? Now with this extreme points right here, we actually want to look out for the presence of a 15 minutes supply or demand, right? So when we did take this into consideration, this did brought us all the way to this particular point. And as I did show in the entry right there in the community on BTC, right? On BTC short, you can literally see where the entry was taken right here, okay? And this is all literally an easy peasy with literally no faking. This is literally all easy, right? Entry was literally taken right there. And of course, you actually have to like calculate how to go about this, right? So entry was taken right here, okay? And then we actually did go for an easy 1:5, right? So if you're literally a prop trader, this is an easy 5%. If you're literally a day trader or a scalper, right, you have your way around it. So entry was taken right here, and then we did go for an easy 1:5, right? And boom, same thing applies, right? And as you can see right now, we're literally playing longs right here still. Okay, so this was what was taken, and we actually did have this quick dump all the way to the downside. So that is it, guys. We're able to like secure this all just starting the week on Monday, right? And as I did say, it's all about focusing on the right end, right? So if you actually want to take into consideration, um, if you actually want to take into consideration how you can go about the premium and discounted level. Still, if we did draw our fib from this particular high all the way to this particular low, right? We did see price retrace all the way to 50% of this, right? So it's all an easy peasy if you actually have the right knowledge on how you can actually scale through this, right? So this is it right here. And we can see the price actually did scale straight up into the 50% and we actually did have an expansion straight up to the downside, right? So that is how it says, bro. Like you actually want to make sure you look out for discounted areas where you actually want to look out for your lower time frame SNL levels, right? So that is it, guys. As I did say, this is literally just a snippet, right? If you're new to this particular community or channel, right, and you want to be part of our community, right, click on the link in this particular video and get access to our free Telegram community where we actually post every single trade taken and you can literally tag along. So see you guys on the next slide. The goal for the week is to actually have a 500 to 10K, right? So halfway we actually did play 5K on this particular hold short, right? Which ended as a break-even, right? Because we were looking to hold for a very long time. So see you guys on the next slide. We are literally looking at taking the next setup, which will actually put us up for our target for the week, right? So you all do have a great trading week ahead.